Well, I don't know what the title of this video is, but whatever it is, I sprained my ankle. And I'm kind of in denial about it. It's not even a good story. It's like 3:30 in the afternoon, and I get up to move my solar panel that I have outside for my small Jackery power bank, and take a pee break. And I open the door and just like totally casually, you know, no hesitation or anything, step my left foot down, and there's this rock like this size, and my foot lands like this. And now I'm like halfway down. My foot lands like this, and it rolls to the outside. And I hear this a little bit of a pop, and immediately like my like leg folds to like brace the impact or whatever, and that was basically it. Immediately started hurting. And I started feeling lightheaded. Oddly enough, I wasn't expecting that. I had to sit down in the chair and like breathe for a couple minutes. And it's so like life is just funny sometimes, because today, literally, I don't know if I could have scripted this any better. This afternoon, I'm on my lunch break, sitting outside, beautiful day, sunny, a little bit warm, and I'm watching this video from Brian Johnson. And if you are following Brian Johnson, you may know the video that he posted today, or when you're seeing this, yesterday, on the 25th of October. I forget the title, but it's like how quickly can I heal my broken ankle? Basically, the TLDR, he was at this music festival concert, really uneven ground, going hard, dancing, and like rolls his ankle basically in one of the holes, and he gets a whatever it's called, like minor sprain, or sprain with a minor fracture or something like that. And he was sharing his journey about all of the what's the word, the therapies basically that he did to heal and speed up healing. And I was sitting there thinking, like, man, wouldn't it be nice to have like a bajillion dollars so that you can basically optimize that? Like, oh, I just have so much money, and I've built up so much money that I can just heal faster than the natural speed of body healing. He's doing like laser therapy and shockwave and whatever, plasma infusion, whatever, all this crazy stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I would not have access to that. And then literally 3 hours later, like, oh my God. The other thing I was thinking about that is a weird correlation is I haven't been pushing working out as hard these past couple days because I've just been so focused on grinding out, building back up, I suppose, this software that I'm building to the baseline state and beyond there. Today I did a lot of progress, and besides just running a long, very long database migration, I think we are back at parity. And so that is a very exciting moment. But yeah, I was just thinking how And I was listening to this. Actually, it's gonna sound like I listen to Brian Johnson a lot. He doesn't post that often, but I was listening to a podcast between Brian Johnson and some physical therapist or something. He posted a couple, maybe a month ago or 2 months ago or something, talking about exercise. Um, and they were talking about moving all of your muscles and joints and whatever through their entire ranges of motion. And it was yesterday or the day before. I was squatting down to like pick something up, and my ankle was like, I can't really. My ankle was like this, and my knee was kind of like over it a little bit, like that. Um, and I felt this like quick like pain, discomfort, like this the ankle's like I haven't been in this stretched or flexed or whatever the word is position in quite a while. I was like, hey, I'm down here. And so I was like, oh, okay, yeah, let's take it careful here. So I can feel on a macro sense, it's like software business is growing, exercise health is slowly declining, and the goal is to do this for only as long as necessary to get business to a good point where I can start building back up exercise and get more back to a more sustainable level. And so, yeah, I'm just going to take it easy. And then this happens, and it's like, oh, you're planning on going for a run today. That's funny. Not anymore. So I don't, in my naive perspective, I don't think it's broken. It still feels weird. Like this is what happened, and now my ankle hurts a lot. And but like, what are you gonna do? You gonna fight against life and reality? Like, it happened. Now we gotta move on from it and figure out how to heal. So my naive perspective, not broken, but as I was saying, like foot came down and went like this. There are all these like I don't know what the biology term, ligaments, tendons that run kind of like this on your foot on the like outside. My thinking is that in rolling they basically got stretched, and so that is what is painful. And whether or not that's a technical strain or not, we'll see how it develops. But yeah, I was like, I was sitting there, half about to faint outside. 10 seconds after, foot is in excruciating pain. Maybe not excruciating. I won't exaggerate that much. Very painful, very painful, and just in denial. Like, did this really just happen? Like, no, this can't happen. This not right now. It can't happen right now. But again, it's like, what? You're gonna fight reality or just roll with the punches? So that's it's such a bad story. It's like, yeah, I should have started the video off with like, I was running through the woods. I was 3 miles deep into a trail run. This bear comes out of nowhere around the tree. I dodge it, give it a right hook. It starts to run away, and in getting up, like, or we were in some like tussle, and bear, grabs my ankle and snaps it, whatever. Then it, I was literally taking a step out of my van. So, what are you gonna do? Just roll with it. It does remind me of, I wasn't making videos at this point, but I did write about this in my blog for those who are following. Wait, was that? I think that was like September. No. No. Maybe it was. I think it was like early September. I was maybe 2 months into a 3-month backpacking trip around Europe last year. And I'd gone to Amsterdam, Berlin, down to Prague, Vienna, and I had met someone in Lisbon at maybe the 3rd week into my trip. And she was telling me about her trip, and she went to this Austrian, it's called a Hammermoose, or maybe that's the name of it. Hammermoose Alm. I think there's a general name. It's like an alm or a moose alm or something. Anyway, it's like basically this like log cabin, bigger than a log cabin, 2 stories with a restaurant and whatever, up in the Austrian Alps. And she was like, if you go, you should totally go to this place, like great people, super unique. You have to hike to it. And so I had made this long trip. I was in Vienna and I wanted to go into the Austrian Alps, and I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go. And so I did. Took this took the train to Innsbruck, and then Innsbruck, I think it was a connecting train from Innsbruck up through the mountains. Unbelievable views. That train ride was insane. Anyway, up to this like super small town, probably like population 2,000. They got trains running something like every hour, and transferred to a bus that took me to a trailhead, which still blows my mind. A bus running every 45 minutes takes you to this trailhead in this super small town, 2,000 people, whatever it is, 10,000 people, whatever it is, and then hike 30 to 40 minutes or so up to this cabin. A very unique experience. I booked, I think, 2 nights, and so I was trying to figure out like how to make it worth it, like what to do up there basically. And the next morning, it was like my full day or so, and there were some hikes around the area, and I was looking at the weather and trying to figure out, what I could do in the meantime. And there was this hike that goes up behind the cabin, and I forget, it was probably like, I don't know, 3 miles and 2,000 feet of elevation or something. Like it was pretty much a climb. And the weather said it was like 12 to 1 starting until 5 or 6 was going to be like rain. And I was thinking like, it feels like such a waste to come all the way up here and then just be rained in completely the whole time and not do anything basically. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to try to go up as far as I can in that time and try to make it back. And like worst case scenario, we get wet, whatever. Which hint, hint, not the worst case scenario. I started the hike, and I don't remember the time, maybe like 9 or so. You can start to see the clouds starting to like some dark clouds over there. It's like, oh, do I turn around? Do I not? I ended up going all the way up, and there was this other cabin at the top. I don't know, like 11,000 feet or something up in the Austrian Alps. And walk in, it's another one of these, like, you can book a room, but it's also got like a restaurant, whatever. I go in, I think I had a beer, and I sat there, started to sprinkle. Nothing too crazy. So I throw on the rain jacket and just basically downed the beer, took my photos, whatever, and started to make my way down. And there was this big kind of like sketchy section of the hike where I think it was this big like mudslide had come and just like torn up the ground. The trail was like, you couldn't see where the trail went, and so I was like kind of like, hands on mud and rocks trying to like, go up through this like sketchy section. And I started making my way down, and I got to this section, and it was starting to rain, and I was just thinking like, okay, we have to be careful. This is like the sketchy section, it's raining. Worst case scenario, we just get wet. It's okay. We just have to make it down, And so I make it past the sketchy mudslide section, and maybe within 20 feet getting back onto the trail, I step my left foot on a rock. And at this point, it's been raining, it's a little bit wet, not super muddy, but just wet. And my foot slips on the rock and mashes into this other rock, like in front of it. And I don't remember if it immediately hurt, but it definitely hurt a lot more as it went down, as I continued down. And I made my way down, and I was like, sometimes, when you stub your toe on like a table leg or something, and it like really hurts, but it's not broken. So I made it down at this point. Oh, and I stopped in the river and took a dunk in the river. The water was freezing cold up in the Alps. But that was fun. And then made it back, and it was all purple and, looking gross. And I was like, well, what do I do? I'm up in the Austrian Alps. I just mashed my toe. I ended up messaging my primary care doctor and sent her a photo. And I was like, does this look, potentially sketchy to you? And she was like, you should probably get an x-ray. And I was like, well, definitely not going to get an x-ray here. So the next day, hobbled my way down that 40-minute hike, got on a bus, took a train back to Innsbruck, took the train from Innsbruck all the way to Zurich, and then I spent the day trying to figure out how to get somebody to see me, and ended up getting an x-ray, and it was broken, very much broken. So broke my toe. That took a big left turn into my travel plans. Got a little boot thing, walking around everywhere with that until I flew to Southeast Asia, when I tossed it in the bin. So anyway, just a little throwback. That's a better story than this. But unfortunately, we still have to live with the fact that right now, in the present moment, my foot is in pain. So, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. See you tomorrow.